Yeah, welcome to another episode of Austin Oli, a sports podcast. It's another week. We were doing this again. We're a day late, and guess what? The Rangers streak ended, so I think it's us.
Yeah, that's
Since we
brutal.
started our
That's brutal.
podcast, they hadn't lost, and we decided to push it a day. And guess what? We lost to the A's. So yeah, it's our fault,
Yeah.
guys. Just a little quick
Yeah, it's
preview of
on
what we're gonna
us.
do today. We're gonna introduce ourselves after I say everything because we kind of jumped the gun last week. I think we were just a little too excited to talk about sports. We're gonna cover some Premier League stuff. Premier League starts on Friday. Top of the table, relegation teams, signings of the seasons, flops of the seasons. We'll talk about the Women's World Cup. Our beloved USA lost. Boo-hoo, who cares? New winners. Um, there's a no-hitter in baseball today. We'll talk about that. Some new Ranger players. We'll recap what happened in the Rangers series, what's coming up, injuries for the Rangers. Messi was here in Frisco. I wasn't there. You weren't there, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure everyone knew he was
No.
here.
Yeah,
And
it
then,
was crazy.
yeah, we'll talk about some Cowboys. The first unofficial depth chart. That's kind of interesting. Take that with a grain of salt. And weigh in with some Dallas Mavericks. Put that with a question mark, but someone got signed today as we did this.
Yeah.
So yeah, Austin, take it away, bro. Who are you? What are you doing here? And why are we doing this?
Yeah. So it's funny that I guess when Oliver had already kind of started his own deal, and I'd always joked with him about wanting to like hop on, and then we started talking about it. And I guess I should preface that I know Oliver because I married his cousin, and so just being around for I guess Emily and I've been together for 10 years and married for a couple months now. So it's you kind of build a relationship and stuff like that and realize that hey, we have a lot of the same similarities. We like the same things, and we're both pretty big into sports and played sports collegiately. So we both played D3 ball. I played football in Ohio at a school up there, and then we both grew up in the area. So I went to high school or I guess we went to high school maybe 10 minutes from each other, really, which is kind of crazy to think about. And then, really from there, just kind of always been a sports fan and kind of always really followed all the teams in the area. Big Cowboys. I've really have just started getting into baseball this year with a big TCU fan because of Emily. So really started getting into baseball this year when they started making a run to Omaha and then kind of carried over to the Ranger season. And it's nice because the Rangers are actually balling this year and kind of makes it easy to support, which is nice. And then, when it comes to like anything else like the Prem, I like randomly decided to follow Tottenham, which
Yeah,
for
we
better or
figured
for
that one
worse,
out.
yeah, brother, it has been tough lately. But hey, come on, you can't speak. You can't speak.
I can't. I'm over here laughing, but I
No,
really have no room to talk.
yeah, yeah. So, no, but I think optimism's coming up. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know we both spend a lot of time talking about sports, even just texting each other. So I think that, we may not be, this may be starting out, but I think we can provide some good insight and just be entertaining. And that's the whole thing, right? We want to have fun with it. And we want everybody that's listening to have fun and enjoy talking to or listening to us and kind of just start building from the ground up. So that's kind of my intro and I guess the intro to the podcast as a whole.
No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that was lengthy. Thanks. I don't know if I'll
Yeah, my
top
bad.
that.
My bad.
No, you're good. But yeah, so me and Austin met a while back. I remember a funny story. He helped me pick out my Letterman. I don't know if you remember that. My freshman year in high
Oh, I
school.
did. I did.
Yeah.
I forgot about
I
that.
was like,
That's
I don't know what to do. I don't
crazy.
know what to do. And then my tia was like,
Yeah.
oh, like, we'll just come. Well, because I think the girls were playing, I don't think they were playing Northwest maybe. And I don't think Emily was playing or something. I don't know. And then y'all
Yeah.
came and you helped me do that. And I was like, that wasn't our first introduction, but I'm sure I've met you before. But like,
It was pretty early on. Yeah, it had to
yeah,
been
it was
pretty
pretty
early
early on
on.
in there. And then after that, and then like, we were still on and off. And I was like, oh, this guy sounds cool,
Yeah.
sports, blah, blah, blah. And then I remember went to go eat somewhere. I think it was, whose graduation? You had just got in your truck, I remember. And that's when you told me that you were a Spurs
Oh,
fan.
okay.
And I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it was caught me off guard first that you were watching soccer because I knew you were a sports guy in
Yeah.
general.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was Emily's graduation from college. Yeah. When we
There you
finally
go,
walked after COVID. Yeah. 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 That was it. I
Yeah,
remember
and then
that
you were
now.
talking about Spurs, and I was like, dude, why Spurs? Like, yeah, come on the soccer train, but I was like, Spurs, bro? I was like, where did that come
Yeah.
from? Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, and then like he said, I started my podcast stuff. Kind of a little bit. I wanted to do it obviously, and like I wanted to pursue it more after I graduated. There shouldn't have been an excuse anywhere along those lines. While I was in school, but I was like, you know what? Once I graduate, I will be like, I have more time to this and that. But yeah, I would always joke around saying, I mean, I always had all my friends like, oh, bro, let me hop on, let me hop on. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
easy, but it's also like we like time consuming with like finding stuff to do and like finding
Yeah.
both times for us to do it. We both work, we both have outside lives. So whenever we have to do it, it's whenever we can do it. It's a privilege to do it. So it's awesome. And I like having
Yeah.
a co-host because you hear opinions from you, opinions from me.
Yeah,
Just
I
two
think it's
different
easy to bounce
minds putting together.
yeah, it's easy to bounce off of people too. And like especially when you're just doing it by yourself, like that is a lot of listening to yourself. And
Yeah,
it's easy to like give yourself a break and do all that. So it's definitely
yeah.
nice.
And it really pushes you. Like I said, like obviously I was doing my stuff. I didn't do as much as I wanted to, which I still can. But it's like obviously having you or like we
Yeah.
push each other and like, hey, like we can do this here, we can do that there. Just
Yeah.
holding each other
Makes
accountable.
everything a little bit easier. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, and like you said, we both played college ball. I played soccer out in Longview, Texas. If you know where that's at, congrats, because not a lot of people know where that's at. But yeah, I studied sports communication, so this is really what I want to do, hopefully. Full time
Yeah.
would be cool. I'm trying to get in the radio business. That'd be awesome, or just anywhere in sports. So I think this can really help me out. So, yeah, that's my intro.
Sweet. Well, you want to get into the prims? Talk about that.
I mean, I don't want to. I really don't. I was making fun of it at the beginning of the podcast, but this is bad.
Come on
This
now.
is bad.
Yeah,
I'll let you go
you're
first, bro. You
toast.
go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So obviously, right, I'm a Spurs fan. Um, Looking into the season, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the most optimistic I've been in the season. So, and I think thanks to Big Ange, the man, the Aussie. So, there's been obviously a lot of back and forth on whether Hurricane's staying. So I think him staying and kind of us establishing the system of like getting back to not being soccer terrorists, thanks to like Jose and then Conte.
Oh God, yeah.
It was dark. It was dark days. It was dark days. It made it not fun to watch. And so getting back to like, high flying football and stuff like that just is making it fun. So really, right, talking about we want to start with, go through the top seven, who we think the top seven is, who's going to get European soccer, who's going to be relegated, the bottom three. I was obviously like sitting there trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I really, really, I mean, it was pretty obvious that I think City was gonna be number one. I think that the depth that they have is still crazy. They didn't really lose many people other than, I mean, they lost like Gundogan and stuff like that. But I think overall they're still far and away the best team, which sucks and is what it is. And it's a boring and a safe answer, but I think it's the right answer. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like I want to look back on this in May of next year and be like, oh, well, I was right. So.
Yeah, no, they have a lot of depth, like you said. You lose your I mean, he was captain for most games last year.
Yeah.
De Bruyne wasn't playing, or even if De Bruyne was playing, but they have so much depth, bro. Like, it pisses me off. Like, and they're trying to go out and they get like Paqueta.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do you want Paqueta? You went and go against Calvin Phillips, holding mid for what? You're not going to play him. And
it doesn't play.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then to rattle off the rest of the top seven. So in order, I have City 1, United 2, which I'll defend that in a bit. Spurs 3, which I'll defend that too. I will argue that.
You're gonna have to defend a lot right there, my guy.
I will. I'll defend that until I'm blue in the face. Arsenal 4, Chelsea 5, Villa 6, Brighton 7. So the two big omissions I have from the top 7 are Liverpool and Newcastle. So I'll start with them. I think the reason why I have them finishing 8th and 9th. So the reason why that I have them. Neither of them in the top 7 is, I think, let's start at Newcastle. I think that they have a good squad, and I think they massively overperformed last year. They're ahead of schedule. Going out and to sign Sandro Tonali was, that's a big signing, a lot of money, and obviously they're backed by Saudi Arabia. But I just think that it's still coming too fast for them, and I think that Eddie Howe's a good manager, but I don't think that he'll be ready, and I don't think the team will be ready to play Champions League soccer and then play FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and then also go into the Prem. And I think that there's a lot of teams that are going to figure out the way they play. They're going to figure out, the style and get used to that after their first season under Eddie Howe. And so I think that it's preview to the flops of the season. I think that Tonali's he's not going to be. It's going to be the same issue that you saw with Scamacca and West Ham. So.
Oh wow.
And then when it comes to Liverpool, I mean when it comes to Liverpool, the whole reason why I have them out of the top 7 is because I just don't think they have the depth. They made good signings in Alexis McAllister and then Soboslai from from Leipzig. But I just think that like looking at their squad depth, like it takes one injury crisis. And like you look at a squad like Chelsea, you look at a squad. I mean, our Tottenham have like 40 players on the first team, which is a problem. But you're not going to worry about injuries.
You think it's baseball, man, with the 40-man roster?
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. So those are the two reasons why I don't have them in European soccer. And then Brighton, I think they just play outrageously well, and I love the way they play. They have good, like they just Matoma's a dog, and like they just continue to get better. They just signed João Pedro from Watford, and so
I saw that, yeah.
And then Evan Ferguson is a great young prospect of striker too. So I think they're gonna be good. They have a lot, and they play good, like really well. So and De Zerbi's a great manager. Villa is probably, my opinion, they're probably the most improved team that they had out of the entire league this year. The signings they made, I mean, Tielemans is going to be a great signing, and the fact that they got him on a free, unbelievable. Pau Torres, great signing at center back. I would have loved for Spurs. To sign him too, especially because
I know
we just signed Van
the
de Ven
radar too.
Exactly. So I think that they're going to be really good. And Unai Emery, I mean, he didn't really work out well at Arsenal, but I think at Villa it's a perfect fit. Chelsea, I think they just need more cohesion as a squad. I think that's kind of their problem. They're just, I mean, Bowley's spending so much money that it's good, and they have a lot of talent. I think Nico Jackson from Villarreal is going to be a good striker, but they just kind of need to get. They have a lot of young prospects, a lot of young talent, which is good, but I just don't think right now. I don't think that's the fastest way to climb the table. I think one reason why I have them and Spurs above Liverpool, Villa, Brighton, Newcastle is because they're not playing European soccer this year. So they don't have to worry about all the different competitions. It's a little bit easier. And I think Poch is a great manager. Obviously, when I started watching Spurs was when Poch was the manager, and it was the Champions League final year. So that was definitely, he's going to get them right. And I think they'll be good. And I hate to say it because, I mean, I have a couple of friends that are Chelsea fans, and honestly, I'm tired of them spending $1 billion every year. So
with all that money spent, like they're kind of like the Mets of the Premier League, if you say.
Exactly. I think that's a great.
Yeah, you would hope they start clicking at some point with all that money they spent on those like top class players, and also in Man U too. You could say that too with all the players they've spent.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And then Arsenal, I think they might take a step back. Just from, they still have a great squad. I think they have I mean, really good talent. And I mean, Saka's obviously Saka. They just brought in David Raya from Brentford as another keeper. So, I mean, I think that they're going to be a good team. It's just, I think that they're still inexperienced. They haven't played Champions League soccer before, or at least a lot of them haven't. So that's going to be something that's going to kind of take away from their prem season. And then Spurs, I mean, trying to take like my Spurs fan glasses off and just be super unbiased. I think that like you can look at the friendly that they played against Barca. It would have been yesterday, right? With I would say a B/C team, but especially a C team by the time that the game was in after the 80th minute. They were up 2-1 on Barca, and you could have said they probably should have won that game. But that's playing three guys that were in Dane Scarlett, Alfie Devine, and I can't remember the third, that were all they're all youth prospects and that were loaned out to like League One size last year. So, and to really take the game to Barca, I think that just the style of football that Ange plays and he likes and he wants from his teams is something that's like super, super top tier. It's just going to be fun to watch. I think they're going to score a lot of goals, and I think Van de Ven is a great signing at center back because he's got a lot of pace and they play a high line. So they kind of they press a lot, and he has recovery pace if somebody plays a ball over the top, and he's able to get back there. And I think Romero's a world-class center back, and he's up there. So he's obviously a World Cup winner. And I think that they just have a lot of talent. So I don't think that they'll get to the upper echelon when it comes to like City, but really from like United, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea, I think all that's pretty tight. So I mean, it's you're splitting hairs at that point. And United, I think Ten Hag's a great manager. I know there was a couple. I think it was when we were interviewing Conte is when Ten Hag was rumored to be the next Spurs manager. So I wanted him back then. I think he plays great soccer too, and has a good mind. They have a lot of talent. I mean, if Rashford kind of keeps the format he had in the middle of last season,
Yeah.
I think they're going to be tough to beat. And then they had the guy that they just signed from Atalanta for striker. I think if he kind of comes good and he adapts, and I mean, everything that I've read is he's like a physical freak, right? So I think that's something that could do well. And then I think you're about to get Harry Maguire off their hands, so don't have to worry about that. Anymore. So I think they just have a lot of talent, and the difference between them and Chelsea, in my opinion, is that they've kind of been the same core squad for at least a season now. So they've had that time to kind of mesh, and they've been under Ten Hag. I think this is his second season, maybe his first 1.5. He's been there 1.5 seasons, so they kind of know the way he plays, and it's not like they're learning a new system. And then I've kind of already hit on City, so I think City are just it right now. So
Yeah.
that's that. That's my top 7.
All right. Yeah. I kind of went a totally different direction than you. I'll tell you that.
That's tough.
Let's see. I went top 4, but I'll give you my 7 too. So I have Arsenal actually winning the league this year.
Don't say that.
I really think so, man. But like you said, I mean, they did have
they had
a good season last year. He's gonna get himself a Prem, bro. He's gonna be the first player to win the Prem and the Europa Conference League and the Champions League. Don't worry about it. Nah, not Champions League. But no, I really think Arsenal. I mean, they had some good signings. I think they look good, and I think hopefully they can not bottle it this year. They should have won it last year. But it's gonna be tough now. You said with other tournaments in play, Champions League now. They haven't played that in a long time. And I have City right behind them. Obviously, I mean, I just think because it's City. I mean, they're not going to go low. I mean, if they're anything lower than 1 or 2, I think that's going to be very surprising. I had Man U at 3. I had Liverpool at 4. I think they can come back into the top 4. Personally,
I mean, I think they have the talent to do it. It's just like I said, I'm worried about the squad depth. I think after you get out of when you're playing Trent, who's a great player. I think Trent is a great player, but when you're playing him at midfield, like obviously. I mean, that may even be his best position, right? But that just shows that you don't have the depth and like senior signings to do it. Yeah. And so I think that's where you run into problems. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of just Jota too. I think he had a really good season last year. Yeah, hopefully that transfers over to this year. I think he's a big sleeper on that Liverpool team, and the McAllister too. You would hope he brings that form from World Cup and also Brighton. But yeah, and then I would go Chelsea 5, and then I think I stick with Villa, and I feel like I have to throw Newcastle in there. I know you're not that you're hating on Newcastle, but they had such a good year last year, man.
And where's Spurs?
They can sneak in, huh?
Where's Spurs then?
Oh, oof. I'd probably flip them with Spurs than with Villa. I have them. I think so.
That's so brutal.
Yeah, sorry, man. Brutal. I hate to break it to you.
That's so brutal.
I hate to break it to you.
I can't. I just have. My list is perfect. So
your list is perfect. Okay, yeah. We'll see how it is at the end of the season. We'll see what it is at the end of the season.
I'll be ready to tell you.
Oh, my. So yeah, those are my top 7, and then I think our bottom 3 are kind of the same.
Yeah, I think so. So at 18, I have Bournemouth. Bournemouth 18, Luton 19, and then Wolves 20. I've never been more sure that a team. For 18.
What is that? 18. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then Luton Town, and then Wolves.
Yeah, I've never been more sure that a team is going to get relegated than I have been with Wolves. I don't know what it is.
Their fall off is crazy. I mean, they got rid of everyone.
It's crazy. Like you get rid of probably your best player in Ruben Neves. Mm-hmm. They just got rid of their manager yesterday, and Julian Lopetegui. So like
right before the season,
and then they spent right before the season. So that's like everything you were doing during preseason makes no sense. And I think
like why would you wait so long? Like,
exactly.
What would you see in preseason where you're just like, hey, I'm gonna get rid of this guy? Like, why didn't you do that before? Like
exactly, makes no sense. And then they spent I think they spent 55 million on Matheus Cunha from Madrid, Atletico Madrid. So like. Mm-hmm. That's supposed to be your big signing, but I don't see it. You lose. You're not replacing Ruben Neves. Like I don't. And then Luton.
Yeah, you also lose Raul Jimenez too. But I mean, I don't think that's a big factor, to be honest. But
yeah. So I don't know, man. And then Luton, I think that they're gonna like. I bet that they'll surprise some people, and I think probably their home form will probably be a little bit better than the way they play on the road. I think that they'll make
Oh
games
yeah.
hard at home in their little like 11,000 seat stadium. So I think they'll be interesting, and they made some decent signings, but I just think it was too early, and then there's just like it is what it is, but it's a money game, and I don't think that they have the money to pay the players that they need. So
Yeah.
then Bournemouth, similar to Wolves, the reason why that I think Bournemouth's going down is that they also just like super late into the preseason they fired their manager to go with somebody else, which the
So
manager that
pointless,
got
bro.
fired,
Like
it would
you should have
it
known at
just
the
makes
very
sense.
beginning from the summer that
Yeah,
he's not going to be your manager when season starts. So why not give your new manager some time instead of throwing him in the fire the
yeah,
week of?
yeah. It's just like it was maybe 3 weeks ago that they fired and replaced him, but like the guy that they hired is a Spanish manager, never had any experience managing a team in England. So that's one, you're used to this, they're not used to the style of who you're playing against. And then
Yeah.
two, I think his best year has been at like Vallecano and La Liga, which is like I think maybe like a 13th place finish. Like I just don't think that that's going to keep you up, especially when you're playing in. I mean, probably pound for pound the best and the toughest league to stay
I
in
think so. It's like yeah,
in the
like
Premier.
13th place
So
in La Liga, but bring that over to England to the Premier League. Like I don't think it's gonna be the
yeah,
same at all.
with the money that teams are spending, it's not the same.
Oh no. Yeah.
So,
I
but
put Nottingham in there because I'm a big hater. Screw
that's
Jesse
fair. That's
Lingard,
fine.
everything, all that. I hate him with all my guts. So they deserve to be relegated. So I kind of want
That's
to throw
fair.
Everton in there too. I feel like they should have been relegated last
Yeah,
year, but I don't
that's
think they'll
probably
get
facts.
relegated this year. But well, we'll see. I think it'll be
Yeah,
last for sure. I think Wolves and Luton Town I think are gonna be the bottom two. I feel like that third
yeah.
one
I
might
think I
just be a
think
little coin flip without those bottom
it's.
teams.
I mean, yeah. I think like really you could any three teams of Everton, Forest, Sheffield United, and Bournemouth. I think you can make a
Bro, you can
good
throw
case for
West Ham
all of
in
them.
that, and I wouldn't be mad.
I I
You
didn't
can
want to
throw West
say
Ham
it.
in that.
I didn't want to say
You
it.
can.
I didn't want
You
to say
can.
it. Okay, well, I did have West Ham in there, so
You can throw them
yeah.
in there, bro.
But I think they have the money, and I think West Ham will eventually spend, so I think it'll be all
Yeah, but I mean, it
right.
looked like we struggled last year with the Conference League, or like we obviously dominated Conference League, but we just decided to screw the
But yeah,
Prem and like did not pay attention and really fought
they really
with
screwed you
fire and
guys.
just played with fire, man, and just we were so close to getting relegated,
Yeah,
man. I was kind of wanting to
yeah,
because it'd be cool, you win the Conference League and you get
yeah.
relegated
And
and you
you're
play in the
yeah,
Europa League
you're
next year,
Europa, and yeah,
dude. But yeah, I think we're gonna struggle,
that'd
man.
be
I really
crazy.
do. I mean, unless Edson comes in and like he has some really big shoes to fill for Declan Rice. But I
Yeah,
really like the signing with Edson. I'm a big fan of Edson, to be
yeah,
honest. And
yeah.
then James
No, and then
Ward-Prowse
I think that
allegedly
I saw that.
too.
Yeah, and I saw that you guys were rumored with Fuller and Balogun to
I
the
did
the
see
new
that.
striker. So
hmm
I mean, that'd be a pretty good pickup. So I don't know. We'll see. I
Yeah,
think
because
that
the Skamaka
I
leaving,
think you guys
I'm
have
really
the
disappointed that he wasn't able
yeah,
to
he's a
play
bum.
how he was supposed to. It wasn't even that, man. I don't know what it was. Something with Moyes, and like I think I saw it, like the way. I mean, we saw Moyes do it with Chicharito. He's not a big fan of like. I guess no, he's not a fan of goal scoring strikers. Of just like if you score, you score. Like no matter how you do it, he doesn't like it. It just
Yeah,
he likes people that run
he
around,
wants to play the
press.
system.
He
Yeah,
he likes a dog striker. Like that's what he wants, and that's what Antonio
yeah,
does. He'll score for you, but he's also
yeah.
gonna run his ass off and just run like a chicken without his head off. I'm serious. If you watch him play, he just runs around,
Yeah,
presses, and that's what he does. But I guess he just doesn't like a goal scoring striker, like a true guy that can pick up the ball,
yeah. It just
distribute very
poaches.
well, and
Yeah,
then run off of it.
yeah.
And that's just what Moyes has proven that he doesn't like. So he should have known
No,
that
that's
from the get go
understandable.
that that's not what Skamaka was gonna do.
Yeah, but all right, man. Well, I think let's go ahead and I think we've talked about the Prem enough. I mean, I think we can kind of get onto it more as the season goes along. But you want to talk? Let's
For
go ahead and
sure.
talk about the Women's World Cup and kind of hit on that briefly. I think obviously, right. I think everybody should have known by now that U.S. women lost to Sweden 5-4 on pins after drawing 0-0 after the extra time. So
hmm
really like a big thing that a lot of the discourse around it was just, I mean, just missed opportunities for the United States. I want to say that like if you are familiar with expected goals and XG, that it was probably like 3 or 4% chance that the United States would have created that as many goals as they had and
Oh wow.
scored. Like it was
hmm
0. So it was something ridiculous. So anyway, I think it's time for Vlatko, the coach, to go. I think that the players are more than capable of winning a World Cup, but just making decisions and too little too late, I think is how it is.
Yeah,
So
and I really think they were kind of asking for it. We should have seen this coming. I don't know why they didn't
yeah,
get their bells rung at the first time with Portugal when they were literally this close of
yeah,
just getting
yeah,
eliminated.
yeah,
And then the way they acted, and obviously how everyone reacted to it. Even Carly Lloyd, she was bashing
yeah.
on them. I mean, but
And
she has the right to. She's been in that position. She's played with them. So anyone
yeah,
else, I mean, she's the one to do it.
yeah. And I think I even saw Tobin Heath, another U.S. Women's
Hmm.
alum, she was on a podcast almost in tears because she's I just don't think that the women they had more than enough talent, but they just weren't set up to win and they weren't set up to be successful. And that's the biggest missed opportunity is just having the talent and having the opportunity to do so, but just backing the wrong horse to manage those players. So,
Yeah.
but I think even with the US out, I think it's still gonna be really, really interesting to see how the bracket
Yeah.
plays out. I think the top of the bracket where the US would have had gone through. I mean, now it's Spain, Netherlands, and then Japan,
It's gonna be
Sweden,
tough.
and
It's gonna be tough.
that's murderous row right there. I mean, I think that's got to be for the top 8, I think, teams in the world that you're having to go through. So
Yeah, there's
it'll
gonna
be
be some
interesting to
really
see
good
how it
games in the
goes.
knockout rounds.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we'll see. I think that'll be pretty interesting to watch and kind of follow along, even without a dog in the fight anymore. So, well, that's kind of all I had soccer wise. I know you had a couple more notes here if you want to get into those guys.
Oh yeah, obviously we were talking about Michael Lorenzen. He was right before I left for my indoor game, I see a tweet from Jeff Passan and say, "Hey man, the Phillies are playing really good baseball as they're late." He's like, "Really good baseball if you want to tune in." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" Obviously he's talking about no hitter. So I tune in and guess
Yeah.
what, bro? I streamed him today in my fantasy. So I picked him up. I was reading the comments
Oh,
in Yahoo and they're like, "Nah, bro, don't believe it. It's a trap. It's the Nats, but he's gonna get
that's
rocked."
crazy.
Bro, he throws a no. And I'm like, oh, I was so happy. Brought my ERA down really nicely. But yeah, Austin thing, yeah, like I said, he throws a no. Last time for the Phillies was actually Cole Hamels. He threw a no
Oh
for
wow.
them. Former Ranger pitcher. So that was fun.
Is
And
that
I think it was
that's
like
pre Rangers
14th.
trade, yeah?
Yeah. It
Okay.
was I think it was their 14th no in history for the Phillies. Threw
That's crazy.
124 pitches, and it's very rare. I feel like you never see pitchers get even to 100
Get that high.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Because there's people really they get pulled at like 90 or even close to 100 because they just don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has a really cool story. I know something with I think his dad had just passed away within the last year or so, and he obviously just got traded from the Tigers. And he's actually supposed to be he's listed as a reliever too. So
Interesting.
he came in the leagues like a reliever, and he was able to. I mean, bro, he's not a reliever. Put up 124 pitches.
Yeah, yeah.
God's sake.
He has the arm strength to be able to do so and the arm
Yeah,
durability
exactly.
to do
So
so.
I just love seeing there's shirts of relievers, and it's failed starter, and that's probably what relievers
Yeah.
are. They're just failed starters. We just throw them in the pen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was his first shutout and complete game of the year. So yeah,
Wow,
it's
that's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
And really, the last story that's kind of outside DFW is Eric Bieniemy, he was with the Kansas City Chiefs for a long time as their offensive coordinator, and then now this summer, after the Chiefs season ended last year, Ron Rivera, the head coach of the Washington Commanders, basically handpicked Eric Bieniemy to be their new offensive coordinator. And then now it's coming out that 2 weeks into training camp that his coaching style is too much and too demanding on the Commanders players.
Yeah, that's crazy to me, bro. An NFL team complaining about the head coach or the coach just being too harsh on them, or just intensity's too much.
Yeah, I think it kind of, and the fact, if it were really any other team in the NFL, I would be surprised. But the fact that it's coming from Washington doesn't surprise me, because I think you can look at the way that whole organization is ran, and I think that you can kind of tell that there's a lot of issues behind the scenes. And the fact that your handpicked offensive coordinator is having stories come out about him that players aren't liking him, and the coach, the head coach Ron Rivera, isn't defending him and just airing the dirty laundry, I think is a big problem. And I think that they don't really have a quarterback. I think they have a rookie or something, a second year player in Sam Howell that is supposed to be the starter. I don't even know. So, and just doing that, I don't think that they're just asking for failure this year. No matter, and then he's a great coach, and he's been up for head coaching jobs a lot. It just hasn't ever worked out. He hasn't gotten past the interview stage. So I think that it's just a dumpster fire, and kind of always has been, and is going to be continue to do so until proven otherwise.
Yeah, like you said, I think it shows a lot from like the Commanders and just the organization themselves. Like they just got bought, right, or they just sold them, right? So then that new transition phase with the new owners and stuff, whatever, and like it just, I mean, just shows you how they've been, and like just their players even complaining about the intensity of their coach, and it's just like, I know I complained sometimes when I was playing as an athlete, but I was like, you're getting paid for this, bro. Like there's no way you're over there just. Dude, he told me to run faster. Yeah, I really don't want to run. It's like, come on, bro.
Or like, what do you like? What do you expect? Like, what do you expect? Like, oh, sorry, like I get yelled at. Like, I'm getting like called out in film for not performing. Like, what do you expect? Like, you're getting paid millions of dollars to do so. You kind of knew what you signed up for, and there's no way that these players have never had a coach that has gotten after them like that. And I just think that it's a culture thing behind the Washington like roster, and I think that's something that I'm really surprised they didn't fire Ron Rivera at the end of last season. So to not do so, and then to kind of just continue to breed this culture of ineptitude, is just something that it isn't like, if I was a Commanders fan, I wouldn't be excited, and I would just continue to be frustrated for what's happening and how everything is being handled.
Yeah, you should already be pissed off for yourself for picking the Commanders as your favorite team.
Yeah, facts.
And then
that's
just
facts. That's
with everything that's going on, and like all the crap and everything just being terrible, and then you hear this story and you're like, oh wow, we have a bunch of whiners on our team, a bunch of complainers. Like, yeah, I can't wait for season to start. We don't have a quarterback yet either, by the way. So throw that on top. Because just can't catch a break. I mean, it's good for us as Cowboy fans, I think.
Yeah,
hopefully it's an easy
not worried about it. Yeah,
2 wins at least.
Yeah,
exactly. We've done it a couple times, even 50. So.
Yeah, we'll hang points on. I'm not worried about it.
Exactly.
It makes me feel good. Go ahead. I mean, they can stay in that for all I care. So, all right, man. Well, you want to take it away there a little bit more?
Yeah, let's do it. Texas Rangers talk. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right. So, there's this guy on Twitter. I forget his name. I don't even want to talk about it. I want to give him quote unquote clout. He's some Astros dude that's always complaining on every single Rangers post, every single Rangers win. And he's always saying, oh, bro, like, because I saw like a tweet from like Fangraphs or whatever that posts like the records after the deadline, and we were undefeated, obviously, and like, oh, post the strength of schedule now. I'm like, bro, who cares, bro? You're winning 8 games in a row in Major League Baseball, no matter who you play.
Yeah.
It shouldn't
matter. I think the biggest thing is that, like, I think that arguing strength of schedule doesn't make any sense, because especially within our own division, in a division rival, because we all play the same people. Everybody plays everybody.
Yeah, you play the same person.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. The only team that I think the Rangers will play more than the Astros is, I think we play the Diamondbacks 4 times and they play them 3. And they play somebody else 4 times and we play them 3. So
exactly. So I think it's ridiculous how they're just complaining about that. Just finding a way for us to, like, we were tied at some point. I'm kind of mad that we won 8 in a row and we were only able to stretch the lead back to like 3.
And we're at 2 now after we lost today.
Yeah, Astros should have lost yesterday. I don't know if you saw how that game ended with the Orioles. Orioles were smacking on them like 6-2 and 6-3. Yeah, Felix Bautista. Yeah, Felix Bautista, one of the best closers in the game, gives up a granny to Kyle Tucker for them to lose the lead. So that shows our luck so far this year. But sticking with the Rangers, today was announced like a little bit like before the game or during the game. Cuban outfielder Julio Pablo Martinez. I've heard of him because of MLB The Show. He's been on my career mode. Okay. So his potential is pretty good, at least on the show.
Okay.
But it looks like he's gonna be called up tomorrow, and he'll meet with the team on Friday with the Giants against the Giants. He signed for us in 2018. His AAA line was batting .312, .427 on base percentage, and 561 slugging. 12 home runs and 33 stolen bases. So I see the stolen bases. Like I said, he's an outfielder, so he's really fast. I heard that's what his game is, that he's really fast. But he's 27, Cuban. Gives us a little bit kind of like a Dolis type of player.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what, I mean, it's like an easy comparison to make, but that's kind of what I thought of too. I think that Adolis he was like 28 or 29 when he broke out his rookie year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think this is like, Julio is like a great person that could do the same thing. And just to fill in, like I think our left field has kind of been rotating between a couple of players, and if maybe he can be the one that holds it down and kind of holds it over until like Kevin Carter and White Langford are ready to go, I think that'd be great. I know,
Yeah, because I
like
think
mentioning him signing in 18, I was like looking into it and I realized that we signed him because we lost out on Shohei. So with the extra money that we had like earmarked for
mhm.
Shohei, and we just like, okay, cool, we'll sign this guy. And I guess what 6 years later or so, 5 years later, he's finally come
Yeah,
around. So
finally
you know,
gets time.
who
Yeah,
knows?
finally it's time. Yeah, talking about those international pool money, and if you saw with the Dodgers too, I'll throw that in just a little quick. They signed this crazy pitcher from like Japan too, as their like Shohei
Yeah,
replacement, I
Korea.
guess. Yeah, they did
Yeah,
like
I think it
some
was like
last like trade. I forgot with who for some more international pool money, so they used that towards him, and he's supposed to be a stud.
interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm,
so Dodgers always
interesting.
find a way to
So
find
we'll see.
studs, especially in pitching.
Yeah,
But yeah, so if he gets called up, or if they actually that select his contract, so he has to be added to the 40 man, which he wasn't on there. So we have to get rid of someone, DFA someone. Everyone's saying it's probably gonna be Brad Miller, which I feel like it
oh
is.
yeah, because makes sense.
And
He's been
that they
hurt
give
too
him like
recently, right?
these stupid IO stunts of like, oh, like something in his hamstring, so they don't like actually. Because I feel
Yeah,
like he probably doesn't have like options to
like
get
is an
sent
extra
down.
hurt.
So they'll just
Yeah,
put him in
that
the
makes sense.
IL, and like they'll probably end up dropping him to DFA him. As much as it sucks. I mean, I was a fan of him. I know they like when they would interview him. He's actually a City fan, so he watches soccer. So I just give more
Okay,
respect to people when they watch soccer, especially
that
Prem.
watch soccer.
So he was a likable guy. He was just like
Yeah,
like a guy to be around in the locker room and stuff. So, but he'll probably wore his last uniform with the Rangers, and I think his last appearance was him pitching against the Dodgers. Was be his last memory against
okay.
for the Rangers, I think. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But let's go
I'll
ahead
be
and
interested to see
recap
how it
what
goes.
happened. Yeah, let's go recap what
Yeah.
happened since we
So
last spoke.
yeah,
Yeah, you
we
can take
went
it.
on a good
hmm
run. What?
hmm
Yeah, since we last spoke, right? We went 8-1. That
hmm
sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've had three series wins in the last week or so since we recorded. So starting out with the White Sox, we had mentioned that last Tuesday when we recorded, and that was kind of starting as we were getting ready to go. So I mean, the 3 games, 2-0 win, 11-1, 5-3, and our starting pitching, especially since the deadline, has kind of been showing that like, hey, it's looking good. I mean, Tuesday was a 2-0 win, pitcher's duel. Heaney pitching 6 innings with only giving up 2 hits, having 11 Ks, no walks.
That
And
was insane to me.
Wednesday, yeah, unreal, right? And then Wednesday, Dane Dunning, seven and 2/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 11 Ks from somebody that's like a ground ball pitcher.
Dan
That
Dunning is
isn't
not a
really.
strikeout guy. I was trying to
He's
figure
not a
out
strikeout
somehow
guy.
like finding a way. Like when was the last time two pitchers on the same team went back to back
I
like
went
at
back to
least
back
10
like
plus
that.
Ks, and I couldn't find anything on that. So
Yeah, which I mean, just something about that is just shown. And then like right, you the next 2 games to close out the White Sox series, Scherzer debuts and has like a rocky start, right? And I think in the first inning, give up 3
yeah,
earned.
terrible first inning, gave up 3 runs and like
Yeah,
bases
and
loaded, and
then
then
you look at his final line at the end of the game, 5-3 win, 6 innings pitched, gives up 7 hits, 3 earned, and have 9 Ks. So I mean, that's just. I think the starting pitching has got significantly better, adding Scherzer and then talking about the next starter in the next series and Jordan Montgomery. I think that
hmm
if Dunning and Heaney and then is kind of holding it over until we get Evaldi back, I think we're going to be in a good spot the rest of the way.
yeah, it's like we're really comfortable
And then
right
kind of
now.
some
Yeah.
yeah.
We sent Martin
So I
back
think and
down, like
then
we said, to
yeah.
the
So
bullpen.
I think
So
he's yeah. So I think that we have we have a lot of standout guys right now in our pitching, which is going to be really good. And then on the offensive side, I think Corey's been going
God,
off. I mean,
man,
he
we
was
need him to stay
yeah, it's
healthy
been
so
unbelievable.
bad.
Yeah, yeah, and
I think that's where we're
which is
being
why
really
like
careful with him.
yeah, and I know like we lost today. I mean, it's a 2-0 loss to Oakland, but we had just come off winning 8 straight. Corey's kind of played a lot there, so especially coming off
hmm
injury, so give him a rest day. It's not the end of the world. I think dropping one really, especially when you already had kind of built the lead up to 3 games, it's really not the end of the world. So, and then yeah, the other person that's been really really hot on the offensive side of the plate is Mitch Garver.
Yeah.
Um, he's been, I think, on. It started with the Thursday game in the White Sox series. So last Thursday, he went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a home run, and it's just kind of continued through these last week or so.
Hmm.
Which it's, I think you and I kind of already talked about it, but he's getting that consistent run of games since Jonah Heim's been hurt, and even when he's not catching, he's still DHing, and I think that's a great opportunity for him to kind of get going and really be that guy that's going to help us help the lineup and kind of keep the offensive production up.
Yeah, I think we forget. Like I said, some people forget that that man was a Silver Slugger, like 2 seasons before we traded for him with the Twins, and he's a big power hitter, man. He's a big
Yeah,
swing hitter miss guy, but if he gets contact on
yeah,
that ball, it sounds so nice, and he rips
it's
that
nice.
thing.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah, I
good.
think he was batting like 414 since yesterday after the
Yeah,
trade deadline. So like,
it's
and
been
brings me to my point with like next man up mentality. This team has done so good with that. Started with
yeah
Duran taking over for Seager when he pulled hamstring. Got Garver now, and you got pitchers like Dane Dunning. He was not supposed to be part of the starting rotation at all, and now he's like top 6 or 7
yeah
in the MLB for ERA. Like that's not what
yeah
we were supposed to get out of him, and just next man up mentality has been doing really good for the Rangers.
it's been honestly kind of like a revelation. I think that like it just shows that this team has kind of been it's deep and it's deeper than I think a lot of people thought it was. So I think that looking at the outlook for the rest of the year, I think it's going to be a battle with us in Houston for the division lead the entire year. But I mean,
Oh
if
God,
like
I'm
pitching
scared.
stays hot and yeah, I think
I'm so
pitching stays
scared. I'm
hot, if
sorry.
bats stay hot, I think we're gonna be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
what scares me.
hopefully,
It's like I don't really want to. I mean, but it's baseball. You got to rely on your bats, and you got to rely on pitching too.
yeah,
But I mean, our bats get cold. It happens. I mean, like, we just got shut
yeah,
out
it
by the
does.
A's, and like, but we also see this team can put up 11 on any given day on any pitcher.
Yeah.
We
I mean, I think
on Dylan Cease, the
we
guy that was
saw
supposed to
the
be a hot piece.
yeah
We absolutely raked him. I think we ran him
yeah.
out like in what,
He
three
was he
innings?
was yeah. I don't even think he made it into the second.
Exactly.
So
So
I mean, yeah, this just the bats are hot, and we still have the highest run differential in all of baseball at 175 in the positive. Next closest is Atlanta, which Atlanta is
oh
Atlanta.
wow, Atlanta's Atlanta.
So
Yeah.
I mean it's I mean, and we have what I think we're plus 175 and they're plus 165. So I
Wow.
mean it's not even like it's really that close. So definitely things to be excited about. And then to move on to the Marlins, we swept that again. Friday 6-2 win, Saturday 9-8, and then Sunday shutout 6-0. Montgomery debuted on Friday, gave us 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 earned, had 6 Ks with 1 walk. Dulles that game, 3 for 3, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, and a walk, which the fact that he's not striking out is impressive to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I think he walked
And
today again too, so that's massive just for him to be patient and just get on base because he's also a threat on the base
yeah,
path. Yeah.
yeah. So and then kind of looking at the notable stats, I think Seager just kind of stayed hot, and then that was kind of when our injury issues kind of started with Josh Young getting hurt. I think
Oh
he got
yeah.
hurt on maybe Saturday or Sunday, I think.
Yeah, and
So
it was a
we
liner
tried
to him. I
that.
think it was like 106 off the bat or something like that, like just straight to his thumb.
Yeah, yeah, it's brutal. So we'll talk about injuries here in a little bit. And then to kind of recap, like Oakland, so we wouldn't have really had a chance to recap if we would have recorded yesterday, but
Hmm.
luckily worked out to where they had a day game
Yep.
today. So they finished the series up today. 5-3 win on Monday, 6-1 on Tuesday, and then lost today is 2-0. Dunning again, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned, 6 Ks. Scherzer did his thing yesterday. And then, even though Jordan Montgomery pitched today, we lost. He still was 6 innings pitched, gave up 7 hits, 2 earned, and 5 K. And I think that just the bats just kind of got cold. And I kind
Yeah.
of already mentioned it, but this had a couple guys, and this is what it is. So I'm not really too worried about it. Going 8-1 out of our last 9, it's pretty
Yeah, that's
pretty
amazing.
damn
That's a
good.
lot to ask for. And like I said, we finally have a longer win streak than the A's,
Yeah,
so we can get that out
finally.
the way. Put that in the
Yeah, finally.
rearview mirror for us. But yeah, I was really happy because I told you last week, I was like, man, this team has yet to get like hot.
Yeah.
And finally had it today, and I think they should have won this one. I think they just got, I
Yeah.
think maybe just comfortable being in
I think,
Oakland. Like it's really hard to be like competitive. I think once you go out there, you have no fans out there. It seems like a minor league game, and you just think, it's Oakland. Like we'll figure it out. Which I
yeah, I'm
think
trying
that's
to
how
see
they
how
reacted
many,
on the
what the,
first
like,
game on Monday. Like they barely were able to come
yeah,
back, and I
they're,
don't know if you saw how
the
we scored. It
attendance,
was a bunch of terrible like defensive mistakes that got us to score those
yeah,
runs.
yeah. So, and I like the attendance there was 6,300. So, like, it just doesn't feel like a real game. And the A's have already lost 82 games this year. So,
That's insane.
it's is what it is, in my opinion. But I think, like, looking ahead, right, we got San Francisco coming up, which just lost to Oakland. So, I think that it's going to be, I think we're in a good spot. And, we just we need to get guys healthy. Josh Young, I mean, I think he's out for six
He'll be
weeks.
out
He
for
just had
6
surgery
weeks.
today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's brutal. And then
Good
He
signing
looks
with
to be
Jonah
close to
Heim.
coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks to be coming back here soon. And I think Eovaldi threw his first like bullpen today, and
Mm-hmm.
then he'll throw a more progressive one on Saturday, I think is what I saw. So
Yeah.
things are starting to look up, and that's, I mean, especially for a team that's 8-1 out of the last 9, I think that those 3 guys back will be big for the postseason push.
Yeah.
So, well, man, do you have anything else to hit on the Rangers? I think we kind of covered a lot of it. They're really like the big team that's out and about right now. So,
Yeah, the ones that we can for sure be proud of right now. Usually it's always just focused on Cowboys because they're
yeah,
training camp, but no, not anymore, man.
not
Excited.
anymore. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
It's
every game
nice.
matters.
Well,
Like I said, these games hurt when you lose today, especially to a team like Oakland, because they're like, man, I feel like it's gonna bite us in the ass once we
yeah.
get towards the end. So
Yeah, the good thing is that, I mean, I'm sure the Astros will drop a couple of stupid games too that they had no business dropping. So
you would hope
we'll
that
see.
if they sweep the
Coming up.
Orioles, that's gonna be. I mean, it's massive for us too because they're fighting for number 1 seed. So that would be if
Yeah.
we can jump them. But also, I think if we jump them, we might have a possibility of playing the Astros in the second
Honestly,
round.
I think it'd be fun. It'd be fun to do that
It's
because
too nerve wracking, man. I know too many Astro fans. I know I know too much. I can't. I don't know, man. Too much stress on that series. I'd
Yeah.
rather play it because I think Minnesota might be in the other bracket. It'd be like Minnesota or Toronto if you do it like that.
Yeah,
So it might be better
yeah,
off
that
getting
makes
that
sense.
second seed. But
Yeah,
but
'cause
if
I
you want to be a
think
playoff team, you shouldn't be scared of anyone.
Yeah, I think Minnesota would be the 3 seed, and we would be the 2 seed right now because Tampa Bay would be a wild card, Houston would be a
Oh yeah,
wild card,
Tampa.
Toronto
Yeah,
would
Tampa
be
and
yeah,
Toronto. Yeah.
they'll
So
all
yeah,
be wild cards.
yeah,
So
man. Well, it's gonna be exciting to see how the playoffs will be, how it all pans out.
yeah, no, for sure. But to move on to other things going around Dallas, we have FC Dallas. Messi was in town. I know you were out of town. Did you have a chance to watch any of the highlights or anything like that?
I did get some highlights. I didn't have that much good service, but my
Yeah, it's
friend was at the
understandable.
game. He was about to buy some tickets, but I
Oh,
knew it was like 4-2, and like they were like already like shitting on them, like, oh bro, like Messi's doing this, Messi doing that. And then I see when I finally get Wi-Fi, I'm like, oh my god, this guy just absolutely obliterated us by himself almost.
yeah, no, it was, it was, I was watching it from home, and I will say that was probably the best that I've seen FC Dallas look in a long time. I know that they made some stupid mistakes. I mean, Marco
Yeah.
Farfan, like the own goal that we had to give, I think,
Bullet header, bro.
to take it to
Back in that.
4-3. Yeah, like that. Like, I mean, he'll always say like Messi assisted him for a goal.
I was
So
gonna say, if I see Messi
Thumbs
whipping
up,
across,
team.
bro, I'm putting that in the back of the net, bro. I don't care
right
what team
at
I'm
it,
in.
right at it. It was, yeah, and it was, I don't know, man. It's kind of been the story of FC Dallas this season of blowing leads. It's pretty common
Yeah.
for them to blow a lead, that either to blow a lead and draw a game or blow a draw and lose a game. So not really surprised. They just kind of have to figure out their closing mentality, and like Jesus he probably could have had a hat trick, and then just
Oh, wow.
to not do anything. Yeah, I know he for sure missed a sitter where he was like him one on one with the keeper and just
Oh gosh.
like touched it into the keeper. It was
Yeah, like I said,
ridiculous.
I just saw like all like the Messi videos and stuff like that. Obviously, his free kick,
Yeah,
insane, like penalty and like all that stuff, assist and on. So on goal, but
yeah,
I think it really helps out for it gives a little preview for DFW when the World Cup comes here,
yeah,
2026.
yeah.
I think it's
I think
really
the
good for
support
the
was
sport.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think the support was good. I mean, it was a packed house, and FC Austin do really good about sellouts recently. So I think that I don't know, it's good and kind of drives the hype around soccer coming up, and hopefully gets more and more support for FC Dallas and makes it bigger. And then, like you said, World Cup coming up in 3 years now. It'll be good.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really good.
Yeah. So to kind of move on to, geez. All right. So yeah, let's move on to Cowboys. Kind of still in training camp. Haven't had a ton happen. They play their first preseason game this coming Saturday, I think. I
Yeah.
don't remember who they're playing against, but they'll play this first game on Saturday. What do you think about the first unofficial depth chart that they kind of released?
I saw some surprising names on there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
One that came up
Okay.
to me was RB2 with Rico. I'm gonna butcher his last name. Doddle.
Rico
I think?
Dowdle. Dowdle. I think it's
Dowdle.
Dowdle. Yeah.
Down. Yeah. That one
Dowdle.
really threw me
Dowdle.
off. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it really threw me off. Like I said, RB2. Like I think what really messed up Ronald Jones. Obviously, his suspension stuff. So I don't know if that automatically just moves him out of the RB2 spot. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really big name for me. And then obviously for RB3 is Malik. Is it?
Malik Davis. Yeah. Malik
I was gonna say
Davis.
Malik Willis, but I know that's not Malik. Yeah, Malik Davis.
Yeah.
So just another big back, like I said, and like
Yeah.
I think he was drafted like 4 years ago, and then like undrafted now, and like he's only had 20 career games, 7 carries for 24 yards, 4 kickoff
Yeah.
returns he's a rookie last year. Okay, and,
Yeah.
yeah, he had those 44 touches, and he had a touchdown.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
like garbage
so
time. I think. Yeah, but I
yeah,
don't
for
know.
sure.
I think that's pretty. I think there wasn't really anything that was like a big surprise to me. I think Rico Dowdle is probably the biggest one
Hmm.
because I think I would have expected Malik Davis to kind of be the RB2 also, or like Ronald Jones. I think Ronald Jones can kind of be that like Zeke Elliott mold. So, and I think the other thing that I was kind of surprised about was Deuce Vaughn being
Oh
so
yeah,
far down the depth chart. And for everybody that hasn't seen it, he's listed as RB5, which in my opinion is kind of crazy. But everything that I think it's also still super early, right? And I think that everything that I've heard and all the noise that I've seen is that he's like impressing, and he's one of I kind of listed some like surprises, and he's kind of one of those people that have been like a revelation in that he's small and is what it is. You can talk about his size all day long, but he's still like an electric player and he's still a baller. And I think Dak has raved about him and said that he's kind of somebody that can get involved a lot and can easily be somebody that is just helpful and a weapon in the offense. So I think that a lot of the stuff that Cavante Turpin did last year would be something that I'm sure that Deuce Vaughn could do as well.
yeah. I saw him
And
down there
then kind
listed
of
next to
looking at
him
the
for like kick
yeah
return and stuff like that.
yeah I think he's the second string punt returner right now,
Yeah.
and then Malik Davis, the other running back, is kick returner number 2. So
Mm.
yeah, man, I think that those are kind of the big things. And I know like wide receiver wise, I don't think there's really anything that was super out of the ordinary. I mean, your top
No,
three, and
just CeeDee Lamb being a dog. I think he's gonna have an even
yeah,
bigger year this year than he did last year. So I'm just excited to see that
yeah,
core.
yeah. And I think that we had kind of mentioned it last week, but just looking for Jalen Tolbert to step up, and I think everything that I've
Hmm.
seen is that he has, and that he's been performing really well. And Cavante Turpin also has been kind of making plays, so I kind of feel like he's one of those guys that are on the bubble. And I think that if our wide receiver group, I mean, just as a whole, kind of continues to make plays, it's going to ask like, where are we going to cut people else? Because we have to trim it down to 53, and it'll be tough. But I
Yeah.
think that it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think
Yeah,
the
but
biggest story is the kicking,
yeah,
or I
it's
guess
gonna be the
the
story of
lag.
the season.
Yeah. So I know that we finally cut Tristan Vizcaino. Cano?
Vizcaino?
I don't know how to
I
say
don't know,
it.
but yeah, he got cut. Yeah,
Yeah,
it has been just a complete shit
with good
show, man.
reason.
And yeah,
Yeah,
it's been bad.
with good reason. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we brought somebody in sometime soon, a more veteran guy. I know there's a couple guys that are still out there, so I kind of hope
Yeah, I
so
think I
because
think Robbie Gold is still
it's
out there.
yeah, please
Yeah,
something
but I think a lot of
because
people.
it's
I think I've heard stuff that I don't think he's. I don't think he'd be able to do kickoffs. I don't think he's got the leg for it. So I think that's why, like, I think that's why he's
okay.
still out there because he's a liability in kickoffs,
Yeah, that makes
but he's
sense.
still a
Okay.
good like field goal guy, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, can Brian Anger not the punter? Can he not do kickoffs?
Bro,
Because
don't even get
I
me
mean,
started, bro. I thought punt. Why can't punters like? How do you not naturally know how to kick a field goal? Like, is that not like shit on you?
it's
Like when I
not.
would
It's
play in
different.
middle
No,
school, bro. I know, but I was like, I at least would know both. Like, why would you not want to know both? It's like knowing Spanish and English, bro. Just come on, just do it, bro. It's good for you. But I don't
yeah,
know.
I kind of wish I did know Spanish. It'd be a little bit easier in my life.
See, come on. You'd be the type to just be a punter and not know how to
Yeah,
kick. Gosh, man.
yeah, that's facts. That's facts. But yeah, and I think the other big stories is Zach Martin still holding out. That's hopefully. I mean, I think he's getting fined 50 grand a day.
Yeah,
So, and it's got to be close
it's
to
racking
what
up.
750,000. Yeah, at this
It's
point.
racking
So
up. Jerry better pay for that. I'm making Jerry pay for that, man.
I'm sure. Yeah, Jerry will. It'll be wiped clean, and it won't matter. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like Jerry and Steven Jones want to pay because we have other people to pay, which specifically
That we
looking
do have
at
to worry
Micah,
about. Mm-hmm.
yeah, Micah and CD. So we kind of can't afford to not pay those guys. So it's like a rock and a hard place,
No,
and a
I
hard
am
place.
worried though because I feel like they're by the way they sound like it kind of sounds like they're not really valuing him as much as they should. Like they really don't think he's as good as they
Yeah,
think. But I'm like, dude, he's one of the
and
best linemen in the league.
he's he's a Hall of Famer. So I mean, a
Yeah,
future Hall of Famer. So it's like you kind of have to respect it and concede something. Somebody, I mean,
yeah.
everybody's gonna have to concede something. It's a negotiation kind of deal, but I think that hopefully,
And our O line's been
hopefully,
that. I
it
mean, our
kind of
O
gets
line's
worked
always
out.
been that one group that's always been really good for us for a while. But we can see
Yeah,
from last year it's kind of shaky. And then they
yeah,
hope to have Tyler Smith and Tyron Smith play together. That'd be awesome. But you don't know how many games you're gonna
yeah.
get out of
That I
Tyron.
did. I did forget to mention that that was one thing that I was pretty surprised about is that Tyron Smith was listed at the starting left tackle while Tyler Smith was listed at the starting left guard.
Mm.
Which I was pretty surprised about that because I think last year, whenever Tyron got healthy, they just kept Tyler Smith at tackle, and he played tackle pretty much all year, and he did
Yeah.
well. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason behind it. I think
Hmm.
I just don't know what it is, but I mean, I'm guaranteeing I wouldn't be surprised if they did flip flopping throughout the year.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure
So
it out right now, and hopefully we don't have to worry about not playing with Zach Martin. I really don't want to worry about that. I
no,
really
there's no
don't.
way that they let that happen. Something will
Yeah,
do. So and then yeah, man, I think the defense is going to be pretty damn good. I
man, they're
think
making our
that we have a
offense look
lot of
really
con.
bad sometimes, and some clips that I see on Twitter, man.
Yeah, I'm not
But I
too
think it's a
worried
good
about it.
thing,
It's kind of
right? You
how,
would hope it's a good thing for
yeah,
our offense.
that's kind of how it always is because like whenever you're in like camp like that, right? The biggest thing is that defense is always the easiest to pick up and to like get scheme wise. And so there's like two facets to it, right? Like you have to think about Dan Quinn's been the defensive coordinator. This is his third season now with the Cowboys, so it's
Mm,
not like they're learning anything new. Whereas on the offensive side of the ball, we finally got rid of Kellen Moore, and then we have what Schottenheimer and Big Mike calling plays now. So
yeah.
that's like a little bit. It may be a pretty similar scheme to what we have been running, but it's still different and it's not the same. So offense is installing a bunch of stuff. So that's the second thing. And then third thing is just like in general, defense is like more see ball, get ball, and you just make a play on where the ball's at and where it's going. Where it's like offense, you have to work on timing.
Yeah.
You have to work on the
Mm,
play concepts, and it's a little bit more of like
more
you
reactive.
you have to
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So that's kind of like the big deal. And so if like let's say we play our second preseason game and we're still not looking good, then I think that's kind of time to worry. But I really don't think that you'll know what we have on offense until week one.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think we're gonna see Dak at all preseason. Then he's not
Yeah,
gonna
I
play a
would hope
snap
not.
from what I heard.
I would hope
Yeah.
not.
Another thing that I wanted to mention just real quick. I might have maybe a little too late from like news from last week, but everyone was just complaining at the way that Trayvon Diggs and Michael Parsons were acting towards Dak and like, oh, that's someone that they don't. That shows like they have no respect for their own quarterback because they were like trash talking. I'm like, you think that no one trash talks, bro? Like, I used to do that all
Yeah,
the
that's
time with
bullshit.
my own teammates, bro. I'm disrespecting the crap out of them on purpose. Like, I
Yeah,
wanted to do it to
it's
drive them, bro. Like, it just shows how much,
yeah,
like,
and I
people haven't been
they're also
athletes and
like
haven't been in that situation, which just pisses me
it doesn't
off.
make
I'm
any
like, why?
sense.
And
Like,
they're just
yeah,
making
I
stories
mean,
out of it, obviously.
yeah, it's just you gotta. It's one is the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are like the most profitable team to cover, and probably
Mm-hmm.
and for sure in the United States. And then two, it's like it's just a lightning rod of stuff. I mean, if you don't think that there's like fights within your own team during practice, like you got to be kidding yourself. Like, I mean, you see the same people, and like camp is just such a brutal thing, and it's like you're practicing all day, it's hot, you're hitting the same people all day, and then you're like with them nonstop, and it's just nothing but football. Like, you're gonna talk shit. It just is what it is, and I think that like it's not anything to worry about. I think Trayvon Diggs like came out and said like it's nothing. We're so family. Like it's just it's
Yeah.
what it is, and like that's kind of just like how you talk to somebody that you're like really good friends with, kind of like you
Yeah, I
said.
just think it's ridiculous how they really made it think like, oh, like man, their own team doesn't even like they think Dak Prescott's bad or whatever. Like, dude, like they're competitive,
That's
bro.
not what
Like
they're
Dak was
saying.
talking
Yeah,
talking shit to them too when he dropped allegedly. I don't know if
yeah,
the stat is real. Supposedly he has like 40 touchdowns in like spring train or
yeah,
spring camp. I'm like, I don't know,
yeah.
just keeping count. I really don't care. But also he does have a lot of picks,
There's no
which
shot.
doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
I just think it was really dumb. It was just pissing me off that people were really bringing that as like just a headline of like, oh, Trayvon Diggs doesn't respect Dak because he was cussing them
yeah.
out, and Dak didn't do anything about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
Okay.
you guys
Yeah,
clearly
it's just
haven't
bullshit.
been in any actual field competitively how these guys have, or just in general.
Yeah, that's facts.
But
Yeah. And then yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for the Cowboys. So we'll have a little bit more to talk about them next week after we kind of watch the preseason game, kind of see who's
preseason,
set
yeah,
out. Yeah. So been waiting on that. I'm kind of over this camp stuff and give us actually something of substance to talk about, really.
yeah,
And then the Mavs. That's kind of the last thing. I know it felt like they hadn't been doing anything, and then all of a
yeah. It's
sudden there's a
NBA
couple
right now,
things that
off
they had talked about.
season. Draft has happened. Trades. I mean, trades can still happen, but nothing much. And
Yeah.
so right before we left, like I said, we were writing this down, and we had just a big question mark. Just maybe we can talk about him. And then, hey, Sham said that we signed a free agent, forward and center Derek Jones to a 1-year deal with the Dallas Mavericks. I think it's big just for the Mavericks just to get another size guy. They can maybe
Yeah.
play small ball with too, with as like a center if they want to do that. He was the 2020 slam dunk champ. Is what I heard. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
remember
So
that,
I
but
mean, I think it's good to have like somebody like that, big athletic wing. I mean, just play defense. I think that was especially when you have kind of like Luka and Kyrie on the floor at the same time. That defense is pretty clearly the weak point between the two of them. So somebody that can run and be an athlete and just guard people. I think a lot about defense is being smart and knowing what's coming and also giving that effort. So yeah, I think it's a good signing and just for like a minimum deal. I think right before training camp for them starts. I think it's a good idea.
yeah, I'm just
Well,
excited. Like we said, we saw those pictures with Luca, skinny Luca is looking good, and
yeah,
he
skinny
put up a
Luka.
crazy stat line too for Slovenia.
Yeah,
He had a triple
I'm
double.
very worried about him. Very worried about him right now. I just fingers crossed he stays healthy. I'm gonna knock on wood because
Yeah,
the
need
last
that.
thing I need is, or the last thing the Mavs need is something to go wrong with
Need that.
with
And then we
Slovenia.
can briefly talk about that tweet I sent you with like the betting odds on who the starting center is for the Mavs for opening day.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
it was
yeah.
minus money for Clint Capella to be starting for the
Clint.
Mavericks.
Yeah,
I don't know what they know,
It
but
was- yeah.
Vegas always knows something.
Vegas knows something.
Vegas always
something.
knows something, and I try to question the books, and you shouldn't question the books or doubt them.
No,
So they know
not-
something
not
that
a
we
shot.
don't. So maybe that's still on the radar. I really hope so. I think that would. I don't think it make us contenders yet. I do think it's really going to help our starting lineup, having
Yeah,
that center.
it would.
like an actual center.
think- I
not
mean,
whatever Dwight Powell thinks
yeah.
he is.
Yeah, so I think that that's something that I would have loved to definitely would love to see happen. I mean, Dwight Powell's been Dwight Powell and he's been serviceable, but he's not going to take us to the upper echelon of the NBA.
No,
I think
he's
Rashawn
not
Holmes
taking
can
us
be all
anywhere.
right, but yeah, I think that like Clint Capella is that elite like post presence that you kind of need to have. So it'll be good.
Yeah, for Rashawn Holmes, we're
Hopefully,
really
fingers
betting.
crossed.
you're really betting that he comes
Yeah.
like that guy that he was at one point for Sacramento. But I mean, there's a reason
Yeah.
why they wanted to offload that contract, and he was getting paid a lot and just
Yeah.
wasn't playing up to their standards. But you never know. Sometimes New Jersey, new city, new team can really help out a
Fixing
player.
somebody.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we'll see who the starting center will
Well,
be for
man.
the Mavs when it starts.
Yeah, we'll see. But you got anything else?
I think that's it, man. Just hopefully
That's
Rangers
it.
go on another win streak. And hopefully we see each other next
Yeah.
week again. Yeah, we got the Angels after the Giants, so another divisional game. But I'm not worried about the Angels really at all.
Nah,
They finally
they've
won the
kind of been
first
pretty
game
piss
after
poor.
the trade deadline.
Yeah, they've
So
been piss poor since the deadline. So,
yeah, they should have traded
well,
for Tony.
I
But
mean, if you
that's
don't have
another story.
anything, yeah, that's facts.
That's it,
But
man.
if you don't have anything, I mean, we can say goodbye. I think appreciate everybody for listening. Be a friend, tell a friend, spread the word. We're pretty small. We're starting to grow, so that's kind of the goal. We want to keep bringing you guys content and kind of get going and kind of keep it going every week. So thank you guys for listening. Subscribe. Go watch us on YouTube. We have a YouTube now, so we're
Yep.
gonna start posting TikToks more. So we're gonna kind of start spreading all around through all the social media platforms. So thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week. That was Austin and Ollie. Peace.
Yes, sir.